South side's all been.
You blame me?
Yeah, it is.
The intersection of
Do what I would.
Allen and,
You
Oh,
just-
Bentonville stops.
There was no-
no, actually, it's actually on Allen.
Alright.
Allen Road. So
You don't have to sit mine.
You're in. Yeah.
Would I do it?
Oh, it's county.
No, it's been, it's in the city, yeah, it's in the city, but. Right.
I guess I'm thinking,
We probably serve.
I'm thinking of our service.
Our properties will get distributed.
It was Christian.
I did that too. Very other properties.
That's fine if you don't want a hard copy.
I said the one note that.
I'm surprised, I didn't know we were servicing it.
So that's all I had.
Frank, you know.
Not a time. I got half my liver
I had somebody call me, maybe if
pouring
any plan annexation of South Point.
sectional now. And we're gonna get my son
I tried to do that off.
like a power recliner and love seat and a sofa.
She asked a valid question. Never bad. And it's a valid question. So it really wasn't nothing in it for work.
Well, they had, issues.
There it was. It was that one.
Service?
I've never seen that email. I'm like,
Not all.
But we can't do that.
Hey, Bill,
Well, before.
did my neighbor pay, did he pay his $50? The guy behind me, the house burned down last weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought probably sent him a letter.
The guy bought he just moved in 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Matt was telling me something about this.
Yeah, man. That was-
Firewood or something.
Had one of them little solo stove
Not to.
on a covered porch,
What kind of dapper?
cedar house, you know.
Oh,
She showed me.
Went inside, used the bathroom, came back, there was,
good. How are you?
Yeah, that's right. That's what Matt.
when he hit that cedar, man, it was gone.
Glasses.
Yeah, that behind me, Mike McDaniel, his old house, he sold it. He started building new
Oh,
ones.
dry out too.
Well, that and it's, after New York, administrator down in Washington region.
It's not easy to see it.
Yeah, I've never tried,
He was in 2 weeks, hadn't even. Insurance trial.
because I have glasses.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he was well assured. Our insurance agent is like, when he went to the local agents, we gave him our agent. He's well assured, he's got some money. I mean, he traveled. But I was like, dude, 2 weeks, everything he owns. Didn't even unpack it. I couldn't say anything. I didn't know anything was.
Yeah.
It's not.
My friend Susan used to sweatshirt eyes.
But he's like, yeah, one of those something.
I don't know, but I.
Too close to couch outside.
There you go. Feels like.
Oh, at Cedar Sinai, it can't rain. This was like, spring down. Damn, bro.
I just do the shoving in my eye.
One way to do it, dude.
And then I was talking to Matt. Matt was out there like, dude, he ain't working up the water on. Just let me know. Don't waste the water. I was like, it ain't. He was like, maybe we just have to.
My eyes get too dry.
Long time, but he was like, it ain't.
Ain't the one.
This cedar, like, this ain't the one you gonna save. Find a picture of my house and go up.
Box together.
My eyeballs and my nails.
That's a cow.
You didn't burn the bottom.
Protection.
That was, it caught,
Blind as I am.
it caught the overhang.
My eyeballs.
Overhang on fire and it went up. Yeah.
Did you ever come in?
I mean, that's a good way to go if you don't like the house.
Yeah, I thought I heard him. I'm like, yeah, I thought I first coming.
No, he's all fancy schmancy tonight.
Set it back on fire.
I said for a change, but it's the only difference. See, usually it's like, yeah.
Let it rekindle.
And tell my older suits, everybody a little bit before you get snow, it just.
I told man.
Having an appointment.
I might make a-
Clean shaven suit thing.
And I don't know, I went to lunch and.
You know what? Still.
Throw the guns and boats out of there and just let her go.
Get rid of
I bet it's probably-
Oh, man, look at the good reverend. With a pinstripe.
I missed a little spot.
Oh.
And I'm driving, I'm feeling.
You act like it was.
Right over there.
You know, it's actually
I don't.
significant. It was like on the side of my lip. It's like over here. It was like a Hitler stand. It was like, it was horrible. Yeah. It was
Brian either married, divorced, or what?
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Oh, same day.
yeah.
All the same day?
So I'm single. I got an inheritance coming and yeah, it's,
Got all the same night.
I only wish they were the kid.
And we stopped by the bar on the way home. Stopped by the bar.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was prosecuting today.
Yeah, that's like. like, oh.
Get that from you later. I wonder, but I can't help but come up and tell you, I just eating a, half baked. Do you know what I'm talking about? If I say half baked?
Half baked, Ben and Jerry's.
No.
What's that?
Primo's.
You did?
Did I literally just leftovers? There might be a little leftover. It was leftovers from yesterday.
Huh.
So it's good stuff. He knows what I'm talking about. It's, yeah, are you a big fan?
Well,
Yeah, me too. My daughter brought some home yesterday.
Oh, I didn't know.
they use the special cheese.
Have one of
It's like, oh, like
That.
it's not close. This one is in, there's one in Springfield. There's two in Springfield.
Stop there in Springfield.
Okay, yeah.
Make you can buy them.
Yeah.
Oh, you can take it home. Where you going to? Can
Yeah.
you get them fully baked and eat there?
Oh, yeah. It's a regular restaurant.
Last comment he made.
Yeah.
At least we know.
Are we off mute? Diane, are we off mute? Are we unmuted?
Yes. Bill unmuted it.
Ready?
You've been on here long enough for us.
I know.
All right, we're gonna get started this evening with the City of Centerton Planning Commission, December 17, 2024. Roll call.
John Sessoms,
Here.
Ed Lewis,
Here.
Tony Davis,
Here.
Brandon Swoboda,
Here.
Eric Langford,
Here.
Devin Murphy,
Here.
Joey Engel,
Here.
Jeff Safar.
I'm here as well. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our meeting of 12/3/2024.
Donna, motion to approve minutes from 12/3/24.
Second.
Motion is second. Is anyone opposed? Next on the agenda is the ratification of the admin approvals. There are two. One's a home occupation for a looks like a restoration company. Second one's for a track split lot combo. Are there any questions or comments from any of the commissioners in regards to any of the admin approvals?
Any plans associated with that lot combo?
Yeah, that's the Dunes at Prairie Valley. part.
No question. This is Joey. I'll make a motion to approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, under new business this evening, we do have some, we do have one public hearing and then we have two regular items on there. The first one is something that we're the commission excited about. A lot of work has gone into this, and it is the introduction discussion, if you will, around Title 15. And so this is our subdivision and development regulations. And so I'll just kind of give a brief overview. Then we'll open it up for questions, comments, and then we'll also open it up to the public if anyone wishes to speak or have any questions or comments. So if I just kind of go through what it encompasses, because it is a large document with a lot of detail in it. So there's just some general provisions, as you can see, in chapter 1. Chapter 2 talks about the fact we do have an adopted comprehensive plan. 3 talks about the plat plan and requirements. 4 talks about the provisions for subdivisions. 5 talks about the provisions for site development. We're reserving number 6. Number 7 is improvements and design standards. Number 8 is landscape requirements. Number 9 is outdoor lighting and illumination. And then there are a couple of appendixes, if you will, that includes a plants list. And then B, we do some definitions in case there are any questions about anything that's defined in Title 15. Are there, I know we passed out copies, or there were also copies available on the Dropbox, I should say. And so I think I will go ahead and just open it up to the public, and then we'll have our general discussion. We'll allow, I think Derek wants to make a few comments, and then we'll go from there. So with that, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the discussion on Title 15.
It's John, a motion to open public hearing for review of Title 15.
Second.
Motion and some seconds. Is there anyone that's opposed? Okay. I'll open it up for any questions or comments from any of the commissioners first. And this can be discussion, it can be questions.
To be discussed. But the one thing, I mean, I like the document itself overall. One thing I observed, one thing that we have commented on us is speeding in subdivisions. And one thing I didn't see in here is any kind of requirements for traffic calming. And maybe that's something we can discuss, maybe not tonight, but at a later date. Do we want to start requiring that, whether it be in the design phase such as bump outs or speed table. I know we don't want speed bumps, but maybe speed tables well, that's one thing I saw that I would like to see added, some kind of traffic calming section.
Any additional questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
Seen it a few times.
Okay. We did receive, I believe late today or today, we received some comments from I'll call them supporting teams. As far as building, we received, I think, some comments from Alan and then utilities. And so those are rather new. Derek, did you want to just go through some of those or discuss those or give any comments in regards to any of those that we just got back?
A lot of those, like you said, Mr. Chair, just came in earlier today, and so,
Will you introduce yourself just for the record so that, yes.
my name's Garrett Lynn. I'm with Garver, and, we've been working closely with staff and the planning commission, over the last, several seasons on this subdivision code. And, as the chair said, we're excited to bring it to this milestone today. And overall, he hit the highlights of the overall chapters within the code. But, you know, the purpose section kind of outlines big picture, a lot of the reasons that we have this code, but we're kind of going from, I think, Kayla, we have about a 15 or 20 page, something like that.
16 pages.
16 page right now. And when we observe the growth of the community and think about where we want to be in the future, as a community, we're trying to bring this code forward, to make sure the city has in place what they need to grow in a way. As far as the comments that were received, like you said, from the supporting teams today, I do think there is a lot of opportunity for planning staff, Garver, to work with these supporting staff teams on these. We haven't had a chance to digest all of the comments just because of the timing of them, but we are optimistic about you know, making the code even better through some of those comments. I think there's going to be some win-win edits and those sort of things. But if there's any that the commission sees that you want to bring up, either staff, you know, staff or I'm happy to look at any with you.
Yeah, my quick overview of them, I think that it's just a matter of conversations. It's maybe some definitions. If I have to, you know, just look at them real quick, I know there's a couple clarifications on, you know, some math, I'll call it, as far as that. And so, yeah, I would agree. I think that most of them should be able to be worked through it, you know, without anything major. If there's no other questions or comments, then I'll open it up to the public. If there's anyone from the public, thank you, Derek. If there's anyone from the public that wishes to speak or have any questions or comments in regards to the proposal for Title 15, we'd ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address, and any questions or comments that you might have. Second call for anyone that wishes to speak from the public. And third and final call.
This is Joey. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Motion and a second to close the public hearing. Is there anyone that's opposed? I think with that, we'll let you guys work through the comments, you know, because it'll probably generate a few questions. And then, do you think you guys will probably need 2 meetings to go through these?
Yes, the one question I have, several years we have not held the first meeting in January? Usually because staff is on vacation and so are we still having the first meeting in January? I mean, I would definitely recommend the second meeting. In
I have not looked at the agenda. I didn't look out the agenda. I apologize. Is there anything on the agenda for the first meeting?
There's the public hearing. It hasn't been scheduled yet.
Maybe what date is it? Seventh?
So after all the holidays.
So-
yeah.
It's not on the third or
Yeah,
second.
it's the seventh.
It's a little later this time, so let's plan on keeping it, but I still think that, maybe we put this on the agenda for the second meeting in January to finalize it and then get it over to council after that. I think we can do that.
Are there any outstanding questions that you need guidance on or given to make this go as efficiently as possible?
I don't think so at this point. There might be after we work through the additional staff comments we received today, but solve internally.
So would it be a good idea if we look at those at the first meeting, if anything comes up on that, and then get it ready for the second?
So that's on for you guys.
Yes, I believe that very good.
I see a light at the end of the tunnel.
It's a long time coming.
Looking for a tunnel.
Yeah.
It's been a long tunnel. Thank you guys for all the work on that. I know Derek, you and your team, and then of course the staff, and the commissioners that have given some input on it. So thank you guys.
The only thing I think, I mean, I'm not sure, I've been in too many conversations with it in the last like 6 months. It's just those tree counts on how we sign some of those up. So if you guys have any comments on that I hadn't heard or known or seen. Cause I read with that and I just had the one clarification comment for the tree counts with the landscaping plan requirements. So I'm not sure if you guys had any input and shared any of that or.
Can you read your comment?
Oh, this is the one I had was just how the one with the detention pond tree. The one with 3,000 or 3,000 feet up to 30 and then 1 per 6 when you're above 30. The math doesn't check out if you're just barely above. So I want to go up, but the rest of all the other ones, because some of it I still think is high, but at the same part,
What
not
was the ratio? 1 per 3,000?
1
square feet?
3,000
It's not
square
one
feet of
tree.
area on the
It's
tree.
not one tree. It's not one tree. Hold on. It's not one tree.
It's on page 92.
So per 3,000 square feet, after providing. One tree.
No, but still, it's looking at multiply from 3 to 6. If you're at 32, it'd be 11 times all that. At 6, it's, it's 32, it'd be 6. And I'd want to just change it to clarify and some of those other quantity ones, if you guys everyone looked at those, that seems like a lot of trees. But
I don't.
it's just all those, I know you care more about landscaping, you know more about it. I don't even pretend to say I know much about landscaping.
Have to do the math. Just, I think that's, if it's just a calculation error, then I think y'all can figure that
I
out.
think it was just the way it was written, the way
Yeah.
it's currently written. It looks like if you have a larger facility over 30,000, you would have to provide less trees than a facility that only has 30,000 or less. So Alan's comment where he asked is, should it read as 1 per 6,000 above 30,000 square feet? I would say yes. It just needs to be reworded.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the other calcs were and all that. And how the clusters and all that, and if that numbers look like how you want them. Then that's something we talked about. I was there 8 months ago and haven't seen anything since. And probably before any of them have seen it, so.
I think something I do want to bring up, where do we land on the preservation? Looking at it right now.
Yeah.
That'll
be a tough.
That can be very overbearing.
We're looking at specific.
93.
93.
I mean, I thought the way we left it, it was, if you're gonna save trees, you need to do this, and that can count towards your requirement, right? But it's not you have to save X number of trees.
It's on, look at E.
Yeah, there's
You
a,
have a preservation reduction chart.
Yeah, on page 95.
Credit, credit for the size of the tree, how many per size.
Okay, but it's not a shall, it's a may on the tree protection, correct? Option, great.
Well, remember when we had that issue, I did have a question about that. Remember we had that issue where the developer came in and promised to,
Mowed them all down.
How could we forget?
you remember that?
Mowed them all
So, I
down.
mean, how,
I was thinking about that.
So if we,
Here today.
if we have this
Code enforcement.
code in,
Have a code.
you know, adopted as an ordinance, if they went and did that, then they would be required to plant new trees to per the code to make up for that.
Had they saved
We
any,
didn't have an official code, Brandon, when that happened, so there's really no enforcement other than you
So,
violated the
by
term.
doing that though, like, does that go back to the penalty phase? On like page 6, they get penalized
It goes back,
financially for that, but I didn't see it.
it goes back to this chart right here. So like,
You know-
you know, if they were planning to save X number of trees that were 24 to 29 inches, well, now they gotta plant, you know, they don't get that credit. So now they have to plant new.
Where is that language though?
I mean, it's hard to penalize someone for clearing their own land.
Yeah.
That requirement to where if they would have saved 100 trees, they could have not planted. What is it?
It doesn't go back to the penalty section.
Well, if it's a may, then they,
No, it's a, you have to have this many trees. You can save X number of trees on your site and get credits for that. But if those aren't saved, then you go.
Gotta go back to the original.
To the original ordinance.
Requirement.
and This is what's required. You know, if they get out there and kill one or it's not in good shape and decide to take it down, they just replace it per the code. And, I think we will have that. That leverage at that point.
I mean, I think that's what I was struggling with, because like what you just said, I mean, it's their land, they're developing like certain things fit on their land, they don't fit on their land, they need to remove trees.
Eric has an explanation.
I can just add just a little bit more. I thought that was a great question that you asked about, does it go back to the penalty section at the beginning? If y'all want that, you can clarify that to us, but the way that no is the current answer, because basically the way it's worded is in 94.
I've got it on the screen. I think you can refer to this.
And so basically, just to kind of highlight a couple of them, it says number 4, tree protection measures surrounding the areas with the preserved trees shall be maintained throughout the construction process. Again, this is that they are wanting to utilize the chart so that they can plant less new things, and because they think that that tree is an amenity to the site, and so they want that to be a part of their plan, right? Protection measures shall be removed after the C of O, okay, or after the development compliance. Number 5, trees and tree canopy areas damaged during construction. So if something happens, that means they will not be eligible for the credits. And the result then is that you do at that point, then have to plant the trees matching the ratio that's in that chart, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
you still go back to that chart for clarification on what they would need
So
to
there-
do.
There's no financial penalty except they're out of pocket to have to go buy trees and plant them.
And I think that's the right way to
Yeah.
handle it. That was a atypical situation
Yeah.
because we didn't have any enforcement. But they told us they were gonna do something and then blatantly did not do something.
Right.
And so we didn't have any means of enforcement.
Thanks.
I didn't see in here, but maybe I missed it. Didn't we talk about sustainment of trees, and when you plant new trees and they die within a week? Did you really plant new trees?
Yeah, there's a preservation.
We talked about a 2-year.
2 years, maybe I missed the line, that's why I was.
you don't want them
Okay, I mean, maybe I missed it,
to or dead trees.
that's happened, several times recently, they.
85.
Had a bunch of trees and they're dead in a week.
We're so close.
Prove the agreement. Okay, I got you.
The easy way to do it is we go out 2 years anyway for maintenance. So if there's damage to the infrastructure, we go out anyway, give them a few months. So when we go do that inspection, bring planning along with that same schedule to go to the tree maintenance.
I mean, if you plant evergreen trees in July with no water,
They're not.
how that works out.
Is there an option for bonding trees if the, conditions aren't appropriate to plant them?
I think there is a seasonal option.
That may impact the species of trees you plant too.
Yeah, as long as it's not.
Check that.
About it, though, yeah.
I know that was the intent, like if it's super hot and dry in August, there should, I think there is flexibility for that, and.
Just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about, I think that's really what happened. They planted providers in August.
That's talking about.
The maintenance bond.
Is that the only one?
Yeah, there's those quantities and something where we say how many linear feet and number of shrubs and everything else. Then that preservation standard that
I know we discussed the drive spacing and having a good, something to fall back on. Is that all kosher in here based on what we talked about?
the dry spacing conflicted. I think it was 200 in here and Title 900 has set for 220 and 260. So
So this is one we talked about in staff when we were trying to go through these comments. In Title 9, the requirement excludes residential driveways from having kind of spacing requirement. I know we talked about when we do like track splits, they're splitting into 3 lots and they would all put a driveway, bam, 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 on one road. We would require them to do shared access instead to try to limit access off roads. So this really applies to track splits. This is in the minor plat area, so it's mostly track splits.
I think when it always comes up, it's always commercial, but having that to enforce the shared access is great.
We've had quite a few track splits where it's like,
Yeah.
it's not helpful to have.
Yes.
Title 9 it exempts it.
On the dumpster screening.
What page you?
That dumpster screening is on page 52. In something we just did recently where we had to, they're putting in a pool and putting in a little community center. And originally, when we had started that conversation, they had a dumpster. They were gonna have to put stuff around it. Then they defaulted to roll out.
Yeah, the rollout residential cart. So there was a
Right.
house.
And I mean, we didn't stop the process or anything with that, but is that going to be, when it's a public building like that that's being used in a subdivision, should we require a dumpster? Or do we leave it up to the subdivision to decide that the rollout is sufficient? And even with rollouts, do we require some kind of a enclosure for it? Because it's usually they're right next to houses, houses are facing them.
We have required that there be some type of an enclosure, even if they use rollout. And we've recommended that they size it so that should they need a dumpster, that can be put in there. Cause yeah, I mean, you can get 7, yard
Sure.
dumpsters, the smaller dumpsters that. So.
We,
That recommendation on some other projects that.
I just don't remember that being part of the conversation on that last one we did.
I think with the clubhouse, they were designing the dumpster enclosure to hold a dumpster. And then are planning on using the hand cart, but just in case, they still could go back and put a dumpster in closure.
Yeah, it was sized for a dumpster.
Correct. It's like, I think I'm remembering
Yes,
correctly.
it was.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? We will have another opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, gonna move on to the next item under new business.
We need to have an action on that?
No action is required because we are going to do it again. Okay. So we don't need to do anything with it, so. All right, next on the agenda is development 2309 modular townhomes. phasing plan. This is a 578 Womack Road. It is zoned R3 multifamily, 4.85 acres with 48 dwellings. Is the applicant here to walk us through? Are you tonight? Your name?
Morgan.
You know what you're asking for, Zach, or do you want the staff to cover it?
I think I know what we're asking for. Townhomes over there. What information are you looking for?
You guys are asking for phasing tonight, correct? Is
Yes, sorry.
there a particular request or thought behind the reason that you guys are asking for phasing, or?
Yeah, so the builder can start having tenants in the buildings when they're done, instead of having to wait until the fall.
Okay. Thank you. Kayla, do you want to walk us through the staff comments?
Yeah, so the only change to this report really is that they're now asking for a phasing plan. Their development plans were approved and their PUD was approved. This is the property on the corner of Womack Road. So they're asking to have two phases. The first phase is the yellow, and it has 25 dwelling units, and they'll do all of the site improvements with phase one. And then phase two, the green is 23 dwelling units, and it will only be the houses that go up. So they're asking to build the first 25 dwelling units and get CAOs for them while they finish building out the last 23. And we went back and forth a few times about this phasing plan because it was originally 4 phases. And then they went down to three, and now we're down to 2, which staff felt like it separated the site well enough that the construction of phase 2 wouldn't be detrimental to the rest of the development or the open space available for them. So we were in support of phasing it that way. We're happy to answer any questions you have.
So the ponds are being built in phase one?
Yeah, everything will be done with phase 1 except for the buildings in phase 2.
So including the asphalt for the drive around through phase 2 is all going to be done.
Yeah, it'll all be done.
Any other questions or comments from any of the commissioners? If they're not, then I would entertain a motion for Development 2309, Mud Bucks Townhomes, phasing plan at 578 Womack Road as presented.
This is Tony, I make a motion to approve development 2309. Plan at 578 Womack Road.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is subdivision 2308 Tanzanite Estates. They're requesting a 1-year extension of approval. Is a Fawn Road, south of Holloway Road. It's zoned R3 D. And C3, it's 54.42 acres with 66 dwelling units. Are you not?
Patrick with Half Associates. We brought this project to you guys last year. We've been working with Centerton Utilities and the state to try to get the sewer approved. Started with just the sewer line in Main Street and 102, and then it escalated to maybe some Decatur issues. After a year, we're still working through that. We're waiting on some information. As soon as we get that positive, they'll start construction. If not, I'll be sitting here for a little while. Just asking for the 1-year extension while we hopefully get some good news.
Kayla, you as well?
Yep, just what Patrick said. They were approved originally 12/19 of 2023. That 1-year mark is coming up pretty soon. They are caught up in the ADH oxygen bubble, so they haven't been able to start construction. They're asking for a 1-year extension of approval. There's like tiny minor comments left on the plans in the adjacent street agreement. They're basically approved. So staff recommends the extension.
Any questions or comments from?
The note, because it changed from the last time you guys saw it. This is adjacent to Vaughn Road, which is a state highway. Our master street plan calls for a 10-foot sidewalk along this road because it's a major arterial. Minor. It's an arterial of some kind, and so we need a 10-foot sidewalk, but because it's by RDOT's right of way, they have to be so far out of the clear zone. And with that clear zone, that it puts the sidewalk outside of city's right of way, so they're dedicating a 10-foot pedestrian easement for the sidewalk, and then they're dedicating a 10-foot landscape easement for the street trees outside of the utility corridor.
New year will get you there.
He'll be back.
Any question or comments from any of the staff or commissioners? Sorry. If not, then I would entertain a motion for the 1-year extension for Tanzanite Estates. Again, it's at Vaughn Road, south of Holloway Road.
This is Craig, I make a motion to approve subdivision 2308 1-year extension.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? Thanks, Patrick. There is a 2025 planning submittal calendar that also contains the days of our meetings for next year. And the staff is requesting us to adopt that. I didn't see anything
I
to,
think the March 2nd meeting is incorrect. I don't know if the 18th is ready. It looks like it got copied from the one above.
Should be March 4th.
Yes.
Okay.
and then March 18th, it's, the February is repeated on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Oh, could be.
Darn copy and paste.
An error in a cell somehow, but that will be fixed.
Two
Stare at it.
months, right?
Yep.
Not too bad. Then it looks like we got the same deal next year on January 6th, so that shouldn't be too bad. Well, looks good.
There's no additional questions or comments, then I would entertain a motion to adopt the 2025 planning submittal calendar.
This is Joey. I'll make a motion to approve the planning submittal calendar with the slight change for the second meeting in March.
Second.
Motion and second. Is anyone opposed? All right, there's not a council meeting till next year. I will see you before then. I would like to add one thing under the announcements, and I guess we could do it under the business, sorry. Under normally the last meeting of the year, we do go ahead and elect officers so that we're prepared for next year. We can just hit the ground running. And so there's 3 that we need to fill. That would be the chairperson, the co-chair, and then the secretary. So if anyone
I nominate Jeff to be chair.
Second. Motion no change, carried forward from this year.
But we need to handle each motion separately.
Good try. I mean, good try.
A little railroaded, Jeff.
So we can do one, or you guys can withdraw that one and we can do one that would be 3. If that's what you guys want to do, just give me a little guidance and direction and I'll entertain either one of them.
One motion.
Yep, motion on the table.
Yeah, there was a second on the first one.
All right,
Someone could vote it down and.
You voted down? Can I withdraw my motion?
all right. We have a motion and a second for me to remain as the chairperson. Is there anyone that's opposed? Okay. Then we also have the co-chair and the secretary. And we can either handle those at once or you guys can
Motion, we move forward with the current co-chair and secretary from the previous year.
motion and a second. Is there anyone that's opposed? All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it. The next meeting, as was stated, is 1/7. If you can't be here, you said you won't be here.
It's February 7th, good.
All right, John's good. And then there's a tech review meeting on the 19th. Anything else from staff? Anything else from any of the commissioner? Oh, was that a This means
I
yeah.
thought it was.
Hopefully that's what you do to, when you say you have a question.
People raise their hand when they have something.
No.
Everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Thank you.
Motion and a second. Matthew figured out who seconded it. Is anyone opposed? Thank you, guys.
Oh, you didn't see.